They left the sunburned plains behind, dreams packed tight in a restless mind. Shadows chased them through the night, but here they found a brighter place, a land that holds a wide embrace. Our sapphires, our dreamers, our team, building futures, stitching the seams. No longer lost, no need to flee. Here's to the hope, here's to the free. Here's to the free. They speak in rhythms, a different tune, a blend of voices under one moon. New roots grow where old ones were torn. The past still whispers a distant call, but here they rise, they stand tall. Our sapphires, our dreamers, our team, building futures, stitching the seams. No longer lost, no need to flee. Here's to the hope, here's to the free. Here's to the free. Here's to the free. Our sapphires, our dreamers, our team, building futures, stitching the seams. No longer lost, no need to flee. Here's to the hope, here's to the free. Here's to the free. Here's to the free. Here's to the free.
Alabama heat melts the road to gold.
New faces arrive with stories untold.
The air is thick, but the dreams are wide.
South African hearts crossing the tide.
Safe in liberty's embrace, where the stars and stripes find space. Sweat rolls down, but the hope runs deep. Alabama heat, Alabama heat. They carry talent in battered bags. No corruption here to plant new flags.
From the ashes of crime they rise.
With courage burning brighter than skies.
The past may haunt,
But the future sings. Freedom hums on broken wings. Safe in liberty's embrace.
Alabama Heat, folks, welcome back for Sunday Cafe Klatsch. For the trolls who are watching to steal my content and then slander me and commit crimes, here's some advice. Don't. All right, so that was Alabama Heat, and then Our Sapphirs, a little bit of rock anthem, and then some deep, heavy country there. The second song was in tribute to Earl Langdon and his large family in the South in Alabama. Visited them recently and did some interviews. So that's for them and for all of the South Africans. Our Sapphirs is what I'm using rather than calling the South African refugees all the time. Now they're our Sapphirs, our South Africans. Welcome back to the program, folks, on Sunday for our Cafe Klatsch. I don't think I'll be able to do Cafe Klatsch next week because I'll be flying, so that's not going to happen next week. But anyway, or I'll be traveling. So Paul, thank you. 14 Rand saying hi, Shelly. That's funny. That's funny. Anyway, good evening, everyone. I'll do a poll. We do that every week, Marley. We'll do it again here shortly. Might as well start it now, though. It's a good point there. All right, let's go ahead and start a poll. So, what's Shelly mean to me? That'd be fun. No, I'm going to do that. Have you received an email or telephone call from RSC or PRM? Okay, all right. If you've gotten that, then you've gotten at least that far. Well, my typos are terrible here. Yes, no. I'm going to add an option this time. Did not file a statement of interest. Okay, there you go. Oh, crap. Too many characters. Did not file a statement of interest. Okay, so there you go, folks. All right, there's a poll up. Okay, so what is valid? What is Sandra saying that's valid here? Let's deal with a few rumors first off, okay? I haven't read any of the comments in the chat. Let me just deal with a few rumors. Tend to fall behind the Refugee, Cafe, Klatsch, and all the questions. Number one, I've been getting a lot of screenshots of people sending it. It's a message from RSC saying that the program is frozen, that they can't take action owing to the lawsuit that's a Pico versus Trump or whatever, Picosette versus Trump. First off, that's not legitimate. I mean, the response is probably legitimate, but let me explain to you why I believe it. I don't have any evidence of it. It's just my analysis, having done this for 40 years. So I believe what's happening is that the email, because people are not listening to advice to stop trying to contact the State Department, RSC, or PRM. Stop trying to contact them. You're simply jamming the works. Some people have legitimate reasons to get in touch with them. Many people are just impatient. Oh, I haven't gotten an email today. I didn't get an email today. Let's send an email. Let's email. And all you do is gumming up the works. So when you gum up the works, what they've done is they've turned on the auto reply, particularly when they're away from their desk. So from the server, you're getting an auto reply. For the people who RSC was processing in January, on January 20th, Trump froze the program. None of those people could move. And there were thousands, about 23,000 people, I think it was, who were already approved to fly to America. That's how many refugees were flooding our country in January. 23,000 that the Biden regime put in place and in motion. Trump froze the program because of widespread corruption in the program. And there was a lot of corruption in the program. So he froze it. RSC could not process those people. So then a lawsuit was filed, and Pico said, I think it's called, versus Trump. I don't know off the top of my head. You can watch my video. It's already out there. That lawsuit went forward, and there have been a number of acts and judgments by judges, different levels on it. It's still going through the works. But the most recent one was an injunction, and they weren't allowed to process cases except on a case-by-case basis. So what happened is all were frozen. Then they went to the courts. Courts said, well, the Trump must process refugees who were already in the loop to come out on a case-by-case basis. So you're getting a screenshot because you sent an email in, and you're not supposed to be doing that. And the email is coming back as an auto reply saying, because of this lawsuit, we can only look at cases case by case if the program is frozen. It is not frozen for South Africans. That is simply untrue. Simply untrue. So thank you, Bradley Prinsloo. And I appreciate why people think that that's the case, but you have to understand what's going on here. There are other actions going on besides South Africans, but South Africans are so demanding. Me, all the time. If you don't get what you want, a lot of South Africans get angry. So what's happening here is RSC processes people from all over the continent. The Burundians, the Somalis, and the Congolese that are living in South Africa right now, thank you for subscribing, who are living in South Africa right now as refugees from those crap hole countries, as Trump would call them perhaps, but he never did. That's a lie too. He was talking about Haiti. He never identified a country in Africa. But anyway, those people get processed by RSC that live in South Africa to go to the U.S. Those things are frozen, except for select cases that they're reviewing under the injunction that the court put in place to force the instructions, to force Trump administration to process some of those people, okay? So the email that you got because you went and sent an email to RSC, that's an auto reply. Don't stress. Don't freak out. The process is not frozen. I've received now over 350, close to 400 messages in the past 10 or 12 days, maybe 2 weeks now, of people who've been going through the process, who've been contacted, who've got email, who've gotten phone calls, who've gone for interviews, who've having interviews scheduled. We have one of my viewers here who had an interview scheduled, background checks are done, interview scheduled, and was due to fly on the later this month, 20 something. Person turned it down because they can't go right now. They didn't kick them out of the program. They're being considered to go with a group that they asked to go with someone else. So they're actually being very accommodating. So it's continuing, and I'm getting messages all the time. Now, here's a word of caution for people who keep sending me messages in emails that I don't share with you. If you want to communicate with me, whether I'm fast or slow, the only way to communicate with me by email is the one tied to this YouTube account. If you want to talk about this topic. I don't have time to entertain stuff in other emails. I have many emails, and people have been flooding, particularly in August and late July, my personal email account, which I've never given you. It's not a state secret, but I've said not to send email there. You people are at the back of the queue. I'm telling you that now. And that's not to be rude, but you can't follow simple instructions, and you make assumptions by sending emails. I will get to them as quick as I could. But as I pointed out, I had 419,000 unread email messages in that account. I've whittled that down over the course of 1 week to 91,000, but I still have plenty to go. And in the most recent emails, many of those, hundreds of them, are from people whom I don't know who've written to that email account, and I said, don't write to it. If you can't follow instructions, then you shouldn't feel put out because you don't get a response. All right? Please write only to the email address on this account. All right? Simple, 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 simple. Not difficult. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Amerikaners. I'm not going to get involved in that one way or the other. I've heard lots of complaints from people, also heard praises from Amerikaners. I'm not getting involved in what they're doing. I don't know what they're up to. I don't know what's going on here. You should safeguard your personal information. You should always safeguard your personal information. From the very outset, I've told people that you should never have done anything except safeguard your personal information, okay? All right? People giving out personal information to all kinds of entities, and some have been getting hoodwinked by scamsters. I'm not saying any of the people we're talking about are scams. I'm just saying that it's very dangerous to give out your personal information. The only people that need that information are the people acting on behalf of the U.S. government. At the moment, that's a contractor, RSC, based in Nairobi or in Kenya, or PRM. That's it. And they protect that information and give it to the State Department, okay? So please be careful. All right, so that email response, that auto reply, because people are screaming for an auto reply when they do the statement of interest, which doesn't do it because it's a form, it's not an email. You're getting an auto reply if you send an email in, which you shouldn't be doing except in unique, unusual circumstances. You're getting a response and people are freaking out. There's no reason to freak it out, okay? No reason. It's an auto reply, and it does apply to the broader refugee program, but they haven't put up an auto reply. I mean, it's not like they get a message, go, oh, wait, this one's for South Africa. Oh, this is from Burundian. Oh, this is from Congolese. This is from a Somali. This is from a Chadian. They don't differentiate. The server doesn't go, ooh, ooh, ooh. No, it has one response, and it sends it out because all those people are freaking out because they can't get to America. And you have priorities. That's the thing that kills me about South Africans. I heard last week, oh, I've lost faith in the program. Oh, it's taking too long. May 12th, June, July, August 12th. You lost faith in the program? What have you been doing for the last 25, 35, 45 years living in South Africa? Last 30 years under the ANC, and you've lost faith in 3 months? Well, then go find something else to do. These aren't real people. If you've lost faith in a free gift like this after 3 months, then you're not serious. You're not serious about leaving South Africa, and your life's not in jeopardy. You're just trolling. And if that hurts somebody's feelings, well, that's just too bad. That's just too bad. I mean, I can't believe the bullshit that we put up with the gift that America's given to people, and they're ungrateful. Nobody's entitled to this. Nobody. But people have already made over here a lot. What is with Fast Track? Who's talking about Fast Track? I see no comment about Fast Track. It must have disappeared already. All right. Sylvia Kirstein from Milk Restaurant, my sister-in-law's daughter, was murdered a few days ago. Oh, my goodness. I haven't heard about that one. How old was she, expat family? Well, Amerikaners can pass any results they want on, but that's not scientific. If I was U.S. government, I wouldn't act on that information. I wouldn't act on information from me, from a poll from me. It's not scientific. I just generally wouldn't act on information from polls. That's a bad way to do business. Anna Marie, now, what's up? What's up, Ms. Forster? Yeah, you thought I forgot, didn't you? Veroshka, Linda de Abreu, welcome to you. Not happy camper. Daniel Whitfield, Charles van Olsland, you mean the future Amerikaners. Okay. Lorette, what's up? Andries Harmse, Charles van Olsen, Marika van Wyk, Maas, Mandy van Rooyen, Anthea, Elmarie Swart, Candice Stridham, Letitia, Life, Madeline, Arctic. The Amerikaners are not affiliated with UCIS. They have zero influence over the processing. Yeah, thank you, Fitnut. Yeah. So the Amerikaners are not affiliated with the U.S. government. It's a private organization, which has had some teething pains of their own. I'm not getting involved in that. That's their issue, not mine. They've provided essential information for people about, the cost of living around the country in different places, job prospects, and trying to direct people to help them out who are coming over. That's the Amerikaners. They have nothing to do with U.S. Customs and Immigration System. They have nothing to do with U.S. Embassy. They have no role. They're not government actors, and they're not an NGO on behalf of refugees. So let's get facts straight, and neither am I. MBCBS. Okay, welcome to you. And that's crazy. I know what you're talking about. They promise the world, nothing happens. Who promises the world? Helen Troy says, my call is coming this week. Do you know that already, or are you just hoping? Yanni Bussoff, welcome to you. Matthew Schaefer, PH, Kathy Price, Elmarie Swart, Andre Mostart, Sandra Yonk, David Wilson, Doggy's Day, Anna Kruger, Helen Troy, Joy van Wyk, A Song for the Saffers. Yep. Okay, Haley Senecal. I need to take my voice cancellation headset with me this time, because I may have to do some cafe live streams. I'm live streaming from a cafe. Colonel, you're late. No, I'm not late, Andres. I'm not late. It was 1 or 2 minutes, and that was because I was listening to the Kiffness on Ronaldo. Kez, what's up? Wendy to V, Yassine, Madeline, Conrad. I'm catching up now. Rebecca, Ian Moon, Baba Yaga. Karika Visa, welcome to you. Hendo's here, Patches. Bormeiser the World Unites, says Russell Gratz. Österreich. Ruben says, we're back. Anyone else getting Alter Bridge vibes from this song, but a little happier? Okay. Friend got the call Friday. I'm praying for my call. Oh, okay, Anthea, congratulations. Isn't that wild? People are like, I got the call. That's a wild phrase now. I'm asking on behalf of my son. He's an H-2A visa. If he does get accepted refugee, would he be able to visit his little girl in South Africa? He's divorced. Ingrid, I've answered that question many, many times, but generally speaking, the answer would be no, because it's unsafe for him to be in South Africa. Hence the whole reason for helping him escape persecution. Generally speaking, no. Generally speaking, no. And the State Department itself says so, and that's what the rule book says. That's what the standard is. You have to have approval to travel outside the country if you're a refugee, because we're giving you protection. We can't give you protection if you leave the embrace of the United States. Therefore, if you do that, I mean, that doesn't mean you can't go to Canada or go to the Caribbean on vacation or go to Ireland or something like that. But going back to the country where we're being persecuted from is kind of frowned upon. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but there are exceptions, and you must apply for them. Generally speaking, I don't know that he's going to be allowed. Maybe his daughter could go to Botswana, but you'd fly through South Africa, but you're safe at the airport. Well, as long as there's fuel. That's the answer there. Martin says, hi, Shelley. LJ Van Rooyen, welcome to James Duvall. Please, how do we handle the death and burial if we're using yes? I just answered that, Francis. Yeah, the government makes exceptions for situations like that, but they're exceptions. It's not the norm. All right, JC got a call 2 weeks ago. Altero, love that song. Okay. Marley Quinn, Ruben Tillery, Amanda Lowe. What else? JP. All I know is the song is my new ringtone. That's cool. All right, now I'm catching up when we got started. Shelley Liebetrau. Thank you for the warm welcome. You're very welcome, Shelly Liebetrau. Liebetrau. Interesting surname. Very German. Okay. All right. Received an email 4 days after they got the call and chose the nearest consulate. Okay, JC. I don't know what that means, the nearest consulate. We have been told anecdotally, and I have several people who've written to me saying that they were asked which consulate they would like to go to, whether they would like to go to Pretoria, Joburg, or Cape Town. Someone even asked if they're Durban. To my knowledge, no interviews have been conducted outside of Joburg or Pretoria to date. However, apparently, they're on the verge of starting to do interviews in Cape Town, which will make a lot of people very happy. So if you're one of those, JC, if you don't mind disclosing, we'd love to know that. But we have no confirmation of that so far, simply anecdotal evidence. I have no reason to doubt the people, particularly some of the people I actually know personally who've told me this. So I believe them. Brahm, what's going on, man? Juliana Histic, what's with you? Carol Ann Burns, thank you. You're welcome. Live Lulu, welcome to you. Fitnut, so none of you have seen the statement of interest poll. I don't have a statement of interest poll. Are you talking about the Amerikaners, Fitnut? Why are you obsessed with Amerikaners? How many times have you changed clothes today with rugby and everything? 3 times, Lorette. 3 times. Also, I did a prepared video, so I put something on for that. Well, that's up to you, Fitnut. I'm not here to tell you to do or not do something. Yuri Osthuizen, hello to you. Sonia Prinsloo. Well, Ian, I've answered some news. That's some news. We've already talked about the automated reply coming and my analysis of what it probably means. Also, we've talked about the potential for interviews actually occurring in different locations. We had people telling us a month ago, oh, they're doing interviews here and there. They weren't. I broke the news. Because the U.S. government informed me of it. I broke the news that they were doing interviews in Joburg because they were only doing Pretoria initially. But they haven't added any place yet. They're on the verge, as far as we know. Vika's hiding. What's going on, man? Dylan Company's here. Jerome Smith. Sorry, member who does my washing. No, I wear these same things over and over again until they can stand on their own. Youngest daughter is entitled to a British passport, which is applying for, and so I'll be going to USA. Well, Maz, that's on her. She didn't have to apply for a British passport. She could have withheld that application. Being eligible for it doesn't mean anything. If you don't hold a British passport, it's a hypothetical. So you'd still be eligible for the South African, for the refugee program if you're a citizen. It shouldn't preclude you. That's another topic that came up this week with people claiming that they were denied refugee status because their spouse was Swedish. I'm going to throw shade on that one. I'm not buying that story. Professor G did a video about that as well. I don't have all the facts, so it's hard to comment. But as I've said before, they don't break family units up. I mean, unless you have no choice because someone's a criminal. You can't bring criminals over. I understand frustration with the waiting and uncertainty. This program is nothing short of a gift, an extremely rare and unprecedented lifeline. The fact that it exists at all is remarkable. Indeed. Thank you for 70 Rand. JJ Rasmus for 70 Rand. Thank you guys very much. Exactly right. Yeah, so I'm not throwing water on that. That may be very, very much a true story, but it appeared as a social media post without people willing to say who they are. And I appreciate wanting to protect their identity, but I'm not buying that story yet. I need confirmation from the U.S. government that that's happening, because here's the thing. If you have a family with 4 kids and you're a racial minority in South Africa and you're being discriminated against, and there's a pattern of it, you're not a criminal, you qualify for the program, your offspring qualify for the program, why would we reject you to leave South Africa because your spouse has a passport from Britain or the Netherlands? That doesn't make any sense. Do your children have citizenship there? No. Do you? No. Are you still in jeopardy? Yes. So they can grant refugee status to you, and they can grant a visa to your spouse to live here. They can do that. So it doesn't pass the logic common sense test. I'm not making an equivocal statement. Shelley, if you're listening, not the Shelley who signed in, but the other Shelley, Shelley Hepburn, if you're listening, I said not an equivocal statement. So don't lie about me and besmirch me and slander me again. I'm saying it doesn't pass the smell test, okay? All right? So, Mace, if I had been your daughter, I wouldn't have applied for a British passport. You want to live in the UK versus the US? I love the UK, but it's a crap hole. It's going downhill like this. Arresting citizens for carrying the Union Jack on a British street? What kind of nonsense is that? Did the 19-year-old pose a public safety danger? No. It's just racist, politically correct, woke government officials arresting innocent citizens for standing on a street corner holding a British flag. Well, it intimidated the Muslims. Why are Muslims intimidated by the Union Jack? There are millions of, or hundreds of thousands of Muslims who are British citizens. Why would they be intimidated by their own flag? They won't be. Only radical fanaticists who lie and racists would be intimidated by the Union Jack. I mean, nobody's afraid of the British Navy. We see their ships, we just laugh. Their army, all 5 of them, don't impress anybody. Why would you be afraid of the Union Jack? Stupid. It's like being afraid of the Union flag. It's dumb. Kobus Fundamental, welcome to you. Johan Burger, hello. Karen Rabe, welcome to you. Lana Lutz. And this is what we're all praying for, just to be safe and wanted. Mays, well, she can travel to the USA on a British passport. That's true. And she can stay for 3 months and then has to go somewhere else. Then she can go to the UK and come back and forth. Alabama Mead is awesome. Thank you for that. Julia, welcome. Vela Pistorius. Sandra Jonk, Bruce X. Erickson. Elgie van Rooyen, Mariki van Wyk, Rian Cronje, Fitnut. If I ask basically the same question as the original one, except for all about your docs, if you fly, I don't know you're still going on about that thing. And then a super sticker from Paul saying hello to Shelly. Good evening to Marley Quinn, 360 at 46, Arctic, Chasigi, Christos Neyman, Yassine. Pledge allegiance to flag. Okay. Dylan Combrick, Lindy. Oh, it just jumped on me. Lindy Fundameva. Okay. It just jumped on me. Okay. Well, I don't know of any denials. Don't know of any denials. Some South Africans are such drama queens. Indeed, some Americans are as well. Hi, Colonel. We have filled in our statement at 12 May. We got our documents in place. We're waiting patiently. Vanessa, I hope you get your call if you're ready then, if that's what you're waiting on. Okay. People are ungrateful. Yep. Yes, Bertie van Antwerp and Professor G also talked about refugees. He's an asylum lawyer, but he has been talking about refugees, and he's had some good comments. People trying to create space between Professor G and I, like they try to do with Byron from Morning Shot. It isn't working with Professor G. We talk, and I think both of us only have one dispute with the other about something we disagree on. And bear in mind, folks, that I'm not an attorney. I have practice in the legal field, and I have practice with immigration law and with asylum law, and I have experience with U.S. customs and U.S. immigration and embassies and with refugees and moving from country to country. I have all those experiences, and I'm an intelligence analyst. So all that comes to bear, and the analysis that I make is all reasonable. It's not hyperbole. It's not off the charts ridiculous, and I actually read laws. So some people don't do that, and then they attack me. Yeah, I heard Neil DeBeer was on Biz News. I didn't get to see it yet. Helen Swart, thank you for your membership. Please don't clog the system. Yeah, clog the system. Love the only reason I want to leave is safety, nothing else. Yeah, you're right, Fabian. And is somebody give a bunch of memberships? Yep, someone did. Thank you, JJ Pretorius, and whoever gave the memberships. It was from Cowsey. Thank you for giving that. Trudy Pepler, good evening to you. Jean-Pierre Leroux. Now that's a very French-sounding name. Huguenot. They're losing their crap with the tariffs and still question why. Exactly. Okay, accidentally answered the poll wrong. I didn't apply. Okay, well that's fine. So much your content and so much other content regarding the refugee program, which I follow daily in laws and study, and I could become a pro by now, says S. Marie both. That poll is dates linked to 7/14/21, days ready to leave. Most people are definitely not ready to leave in that period. No, that's who can leave in 7 days? I mean, that's crazy. 21 days is even ridiculous. Shotzi, hello Shotzi. Received my first call 2 weeks ago. Now waiting for email. Unfortunately, my son and his wife who live with me haven't received a call yet. Okay. Hello Lucille, Adele Kotsia, Herman B13 Frico. Interesting name. Dragon, thank you for your membership. Okay. Sumen 3, welcome to you. Dual citizenship is why I didn't clog the system with an application, which I wish. Well, Freya, why don't you try it? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you want to do it, then just do it. Just do it. Yes, I heard what he said. I watched his video. He said people with dual citizenship. But he was talking about people with dual citizenship, so like Freya, if she's by herself. But if you have a nuclear family with a spouse and offspring, or you're married to someone from another nation, you can't necessarily go. If that country won't give you refuge, then you can't go. So why would they deny you refuge here? Folks, if you don't try, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Just enter, got the passport. Wow, that's cool. Ready for collection. Okay. Blonde topaz, no future for, okay. Thank you, Dylan. Was on News 24. She was only 70. Oh, I'm so sorry to see, or Network 24. That's crazy, expat family, Joubert. This program is nothing short of a gift. Same as the homework we have to do. The advice people do the same. Yep. Made a song, Waiting for the Call. There you go, Waiting for the Call. That's a good title. Waiting for the Call. That'll be the next song I do. Thank you for that. I got 2 new song ideas, punitive tariffs, and Waiting for the Call. That's a good one. Thank you for that. Baron Tendrick Boykes, welcome to you. Get off my lawn. Played in my mind all morning. Truth be told, but still love it. New song. I got the call. Yep. Then I got high. Fill the form to get the passport. Okay. Lana Rhodes. Thank you for your 2 months of membership, Lana. What else we got here? Daughter and grandkids are in New Zealand. Okay, Letitia. That doesn't have any impact on you coming to America. Packed and ready to go, says Lulu. Okay. Just curious, my expression of interest is now with my daughter, 17. If she turns 18 in between acceptances, anyone had that instance? That's going to happen, 1010. That will happen. It's just the nature of the clock rolling over. But I suspect in that case, she'll be allowed to come. She won't have to do her statement of interest. I suspect. We don't know for a fact, but that would make sense. You put it in, it's dated that time. That's the situation that applied at the time you put it in. Unless you change your mind. Patience, people. Just be prepared, says Benj. Okay. What I mean is, if we are in the U.S. and one of us dies, how do we handle that? That I don't understand your question. What do you mean if one of you dies? Then you'll be buried. Do you want to be repatriated to South Africa for burial? That can be done, Francis. It's costly. It's costly, but it can be done. Cape Town, Joburg, Victoria was offered to my friend. Okay, Napoleon, thank you. How are there more votes and likes? I don't know, because people are stingy with their likes, but they're generous with their votes because they want to express their opinion. I don't think a lot of them realize that liking is your opinion too. After interview on the phone, how long do we wait? There is no main interview. There is no delay, Madeline. Some people get called right away. Some people don't. There's no logic to it. There's no chart. They don't have a chart that says 7 days later, 14 days later, 21 days later. It doesn't work that way. Hey, Haley, you're excited because they'll do it at Cape Town. Yeah. So there's no set timeline on that, Marceline. Be awesome if they could do interviews in Polokwane. Yassine, well, I suggest they do them in Petersburg, but that was just my plan. Beth Haynes says things are getting serious. Time to get out of here. Kyle Watkins, my wife, baby, and I are patiently eagerly waiting a call. Okay. Niki's voice box. How am I? Weather is beautiful. You should have seen my video from earlier. I talked about that. I did a short earlier. If anybody watching it, I haven't promoted it. A handful of people. Trump's tariffs. I talked about the weather and Trump's tariffs. 2,100 people watched it in 45 minutes. I did it just before this stream. Yep. NT Eric TV. Prestige says if your spouse is listening, it will be a kill shot. I don't agree with that. We have difference of opinion. I disagree. Why would it be a kill shot? You can't go to that country. Now, I think you're interpreting what you want to say. If you can't go to the UK and your spouse can, then how would that stop you from coming here? It doesn't make any sense. I don't agree with that. And I think someone's interpreting what he said incorrectly. I watched the video. And from what I inferred, from what he stated, what I inferred was that you would just have to express why you can't go to the Netherlands or to Germany where your spouse has a passport. That's easily accomplished. Marie's picking up passport. Tuesday, get my marriage registered. Okay, cool. Dash 26, hoping and praying for eventually. Well, I've heard they're offering it in Durban, but I have no evidence of it. A few people claim that, but they disappear. People come into the chat and it's like, Marlies, they just disappear. I'm getting interviewed in Durban. And then they piss off and they don't tell us. That tells me that it's not real. But I'm sure they will do it eventually. South Park Dad. They took our jobs. Tyler Britz, Cowsey, welcome to you. The real great something here says, I understand frustration waiting on certain this program. Okay, you already read that. And JJ Erasmus, now I'm catching up. Twin Cities or Evergreen State, which is best, your opinion? Neither. Evergreen State is Washington, and Washington, I hate the brutal biting red ants, the pollen, and the volcanoes. And the rainy, dismal weather. Beautiful place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. Also, the traffic is insane from Tacoma to Seattle and back and forth. Olympia is fine, but it's losing its flavor too. Eastern part of the state is a desert, but beautiful. Yeah, so Twin Cities is Minneapolis, and it's full of Somalis and ungrateful Somalis. That's why I mentioned Somalis. We have plenty of Hmong there. They're not ungrateful. They've integrated fine into the country. Now, Minneapolis is a leftist political state. Minnesota, it's horrible winter weather. I'd pass. Go to Iowa. It's right next door if that's where you want to go. Alta says, I'm keeping you positive. My pleasure. This place is going to implode. Yep. So true, Colonel. I wanted her and her hubby and only my grandbaby to make good life. Okay. Literally a gift from the heavens. Yep. All common sense stuff. Listen to the Colonel. Okay. Daryl Matotis, cannot get my birth certificate from Zambia. Try my best. We'll have someone in Zambia. Daryl, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. As we've talked about and as I was falsely attacked for, I've always said all along, and someone's lying and said I never said that. You can go back and check. There are exceptions to every rule. I said that with all this stuff. There are exceptions. There are some things that are simply unacceptable. You can't get around. But this is one of those. The case I've always given has been Erica. She was born in Katanga. So if you make a good faith effort, then there you go. You will have to provide something else that gives an indication of your birth. A baptismal certificate, something like that. Church register, something like that. Milk says, I don't know why you answer these stupid questions. Because there's interest in it. Milk and honey. There's interest in it. That's why I do it. Luister wat Chris say, Auntie Shelley. Except you spelled Auntie Shelley wrong. I think that was on purpose. I feel sorry for friends that all immigrated UK and Europe, spent all that money to go from one mess to another. Agreed. 100%. Well, and I would have said the same thing about America 2 years ago. Don't come here because it's going to crap here too. But we've turned it around. We got rid of the leftists and we're getting rid of them left and right. The Democrats and the hypocrisy about redistricting, gerrymandering is all blowing up in their face because they're being exposed. Well, they've done it all over the country. Democrats and Republicans both do it. They've long done it. But the Democrats are acting like what Texas is doing is unusual. We're now found out that the Democrats stole 17 congressional seats in Congress. 17 seats they stole with bogus census numbers that have had to be altered by the Census Bureau when they proved to be false. So for a few years now, in a couple election cycles, the Democrats have gotten 17 more safe Democratic districts. That means you take away 17. Republicans, instead of having 220, would have 237. And the Democrats, instead of having 214, would have 197. And the difference would be insurmountable. So yeah, 237, 197, that's or something like that, 198. We're talking about 50. So the Democrats have cheated. That's just on the census. Never mind the fact that they've turned Maryland into a basically 4-3 or 4-4 Republican Democrat into a 7-1 Democrat. They've done the same thing in New York. They've done the same thing in Illinois. It's insane. It's absolutely insane what they've gotten away with. And now they try to play hypocrites, and they're being exposed for it. We've turned this country around, but we're still working on it. Yeah, well, James, East London is under Sharia law. Leicester's under Sharia law. Parts of Birmingham and Manchester under Sharia law. Absolutely. Friends were hacked at the Pongas. Even the dad, he's 87 years old. Where was that at, Alta? That's horrible. Fighting with the Department of Home Affairs just to get my husband some sort of travel document. Well, passport's a travel document. Have we got an idea how long RC mail until a call comes? No, I've answered that, Peter LaRue, a short while ago. You weren't listening or you tuned in late. Maybe you asked it before I answered the question. Sorry. Yeah, we don't. There is no timeline. So anyway, you can confirm the dual citizenship with the government, Colonel. The problem with that, Belinda, is that someone can confirm it and then an official can make a decision that's otherwise. This is up to the decision of the immigration official. We have laws. We have the Immigration Nationality Act, where this is rooted, but people can make exceptions. So saying blanket that it's not the case is dangerous, and saying it's allowed could lead to heartbreak. The bottom line is, just apply. Just put the statement of interest in. I don't know why people sit there and go, well, just either you want it or you don't want it. All right? No one owes us this. The U.S. didn't have an exception. Once you recognize that the only logical response is patience, perseverance, it's not an overnight process. Indeed. I mean, these people expect us to bring people in this country we haven't had a chance to do a background check on. We don't want to bring convicted pedos over here. We want to bring convicted rapists over here, convicted murderers. Now, most of you aren't that. Thank you, Anne Marie. No. Most of you are not that. But there are people in the community amongst everybody that are like, ladies and gentlemen, when I was stationed at Fort Meade over 2 decades ago, Maryland passed a law. in which they publicly disclosed sex offenders. So you could go onto the website back then and you could punch in a zip code, and that's for mail delivery, and on the zip code, it would show all convicted sex offenders. Now, bear in mind that Maryland's a weird state. If you get caught urinating in public, let's say you go to a soccer game or a baseball game and you're half lit and you walk back and you got to pee and you go next to the building, you whip it out and you start pissing. If a cop sees you, that's a sex offense in Maryland, public exposure. I don't consider it a sex offense. You've not harmed anybody. You've been stupid. But anyway, but that's Maryland. So some of those cases were that. But a lot of these were child molestation, child rape. So when I typed in Odenton, which is the little town that surrounds two sides of Fort Meade, Maryland, hundreds of convicted sex offenders turned up in a town of a few tens of thousands. Hundreds. It scared the bejesus out of me. I'm thinking, if I have a child, I'm not letting the child go to the mall unwatched. No way. No way. Mom, can I go to the mall? No. You go to the mall where you're in my eyesight. And there's a huge mall close to there. There was no information on Fort Meade because that's a federal installation. They had no information on Fort Meade zip code, which is 20755. And so it shows up as a big black spot on the map because Maryland can't track that. But there are almost no convicted sex offenders in uniform because when they're caught, they're imprisoned or kicked out. So yeah, so anyway, doesn't mean there aren't sex offenders. How about making some songs titled, If Complaining Was a Visa, You'd Be Gone? I like that. If complaining was a visa, you'd be gone. I got to do a screen capture so I can save that one. Okay, that's good. Yep. Anyway, so I mentioned that story about the U.S. is no different than South Africa or Germany or France or Greece or Rwanda. There are pervs everywhere. And we don't want to let those people into our country because we brought them here, invited them here. That's bad. It's bad enough they pour across the border illegally and we have to kick them out. We don't want to bring people in. So, yeah, anyway, keep that in mind. Desmond applied when the program was launched on May 12th and got a phone call last week. So May 12th, June, July, August 1st. Okay, so a little over 3 months. There you go, see? Okay. Werner Durant, yes, Colonel, my wife has UK passport in South Africa. I have no pathway to the UK and told them my call. See, there you go. Thank you, Werner Durant. Thank you very much, which goes against what someone said earlier that Professor G said. I don't think Professor G said that. I think he said what I just said and what Werner said. His wife has a UK passport. He can't go to the UK, so the path is still open, according to the people who took his call. Thank you for sharing that, Werner. I appreciate that. Leslie Wilson, hello to you. Carla, hello. See, I'm way behind. I fall behind on these things. I try to catch up. My goodness. See the call and email, the background checks for Kenny. I haven't heard anything yet. We did tell the person to call. My son is getting married this week. Okay. Thank you, Donna. Kay Janssen von Rensburg. Sorry if this is off top, but are there government hospitals where you can get free and low-cost medical treatment? What, in the U.S.? No, there's no such thing as free. No such thing as free. Kay Janssen von Rensburg. The bottom line, though, is that probably a significant portion of America gets free medical care because they don't have the money to pay for it, and government pays for it. Taxpayers pay for it. But we have free clinics in this country that people sponsor and some states pay for and that sort of thing. But there aren't government hospitals such. The government doesn't run hospitals. The government does have government hospitals, but there are military installations. There are Veterans Administration hospitals. Those are for military. They're not government-run hospitals for citizens. Does PM now continue with processor? Sandra, we got conflicting information. I've been told by the U.S. government that PRM has handed that over, but we still have instances of PRM reaching out to people, so I don't know what to tell you. All right? That's why this whole thing is so screwed up from the PRM and then turning over to RSC. Dean Chancey made a new video, yes, and I haven't played it yet. He sent it to me. UK is going to be like Rhodesia one of these days. And thank you for your membership for 6 months there, Oki. Any tips for pre-screening U.S. interviews? Must be able to narrate or story. Juliet Papa, the only advice I'm going to give for that is that, and a lot of people sent me videos and sent me, their questionnaires and their presentations. That takes time, folks. I appreciate you asking me to help you, but I mean, do people honestly think I have time to review 10,000 email PowerPoint presentations, Word documents, and 10-minute videos that you prepared in preparation for your interview? Just be honest. Just be honest. Juliet, Papa, my recommendation is to use the template that we put together that Hendo started and I edited. We published that template, which is potential questions, and you should be fine. Just tell the truth. Neil DeBeer is very sick, Sandy. Okay, I regard this program as a godsend. Thank you, Mas. The real great Collie. I received a call on 23 July, waiting for the next step. Okay, starting to declutter house. Okay, I've been decluttering my house too, and I'm not even a refugee. Okay, they're going to try to apply to USA when they get their citizenship. Okay. Fabian doesn't mind how I pronounce his name, but he says it's pronounced Fabian. Well, that's because you must be an American. That's how Americans mispronounce the name Fabian. Fabian is a German name and a Latin name, and it's pronounced phonetically, which would be Fabian. But if South Africans want to mispronounce it like Americans do and call you Fabian, then I can call you Fabian. Fabian Bridger. It's your name. If that's what you want to be called, Fabian, then I'll say it. Napoleon Dynamite says he can leave in 7 days. Well, that's pretty cool. How do we as South Africans deal with bad weather? Is there well, you just have to suck it up, Buttercup. Liza Fundamental 14, I can leave tomorrow. Quick. Okay, cool. You can't leave if you have unsettled debt. That's not true, Krista. That's not true. We don't care about your debt. That's not our problem. Not our issue. However, you got to be careful because you can still be pursued legally by South African authorities if you owe enough money, if you've got debt. But no, that has nothing to, no. Your debt has no impact whatsoever. None. We don't care. The systems aren't linked. Now, if you're a UK and you're coming to America and you got debt, you be careful, man. I can cash a check in the UK on a US bank account. Our systems are intricately linked. And people will come after me if I owe them in the UK. South Africa can come after you, but they're going to have to bear the expense of trying to pursue it and hope that it gets resolved. I'm not telling you to be deadbeats for your debt, but I'm saying that your debt is not a reason to keep you in South Africa. That won't have an impact. Peter says, if they can't get a hold of you by phone, they'll send you an email. I assume that's something you can say personally has happened to you, but I can't state that for a fact. Went to UK in April on an ancestral visa return in 2018. I did not apply for citizenship. Well, no. How would it affect you? You visited UK. You're not a UK citizen. You don't hold a UK passport. You're a South African. As long as you meet the South African criteria, you should be fine. Waiting for the call. If you mention to someone with UK passport, it's easy to get on spousal visa and you can become British in 10 years living there. No country can deny a spouse and children entering immigration. That's actually not true, Patches. That's actually not true. That's a partially true statement. Give me back to an hour, says Tanya. Please, can you send a shout out to my stepdad who has finally joined your lives? Pete Griffiths. Pete, welcome. Nats Crazy has brought you here. Thanks for joining us. Stepdad, huh? Cool beans. Wow, Nats. Hey, Pete, your stepdaughter must love you, man. She turned you on to the best program in all of the internet. I'll modestly say. But thank you for joining us, Pete. Appreciate that. Eventually managed to get an appointment for passport. 3 months. That's crazy. Ingrid says, I let him know Arctic said he could perhaps apply for special travel allowance. Couldn't scroll back far enough for the exact wording. I'm not sure what we're talking about there. Christos Stamen, 25 Rand. Super sticker. Thank you for that, man. Good song, The Birth Certificate Dispute. I got good jeans. I wear American Eagle. There you go. Daniel. Well, we've got a Sydney's jeans on here, so a couple of them. See that thing by the EFF, tell people the 49 took a flight off and took pictures, came back to South Africa. No, I haven't seen that. Where'd that come from, Helen? Dim the lights, waiting for the call. I'm on plan B. Just need a document from Home Affairs to get my German passport. Okay, well, Freya, Germany's okay, but I'd say stay away from the urban centers because they've all been turned to third world crap holes. I would recommend living in Bayern. That's where I would live. Yep. That's where I'd live. Yep. Down by the Chiemsee. Aschau Chiemgau. That's a nice spot. Love that spot. Aschau Chiemgau. Good spot. All right, we got 793 votes and 12%. Well, that's a higher percentage we've seen before. 12% are saying they got it. So 12 times 5 is 60. And that would be another 24. That's 84. Roughly 85 people have gotten the call just from the small audience. They asked which province you stay in, where it would be easy to go, but only ask it if it hasn't been confirmed yet. Colonel's right. It doesn't matter where it is. Okay. Okay, Yuri Ostoisen, we are ready to go. Just waiting for the call and email. Nice song. It's time to fly out. Dodging the buckshot. 12 ops ons op die stoep. Starting a detox tomorrow. Blood system can be squeaky clean for medical screening. Well, I take it you've been doing drugs. I shouldn't be doing drugs, man. Shouldn't be doing drugs. Serious question. Okay, we got a serious question here. Would they consider someone who is generally stateless at the moment? I don't understand that, Lynette. It's generally stateless at the moment. If you live in South Africa, how are you stateless? I can't answer the question because I don't know the particulars. Songs include +254 8675254 8675254. We should do that. Okay. And Tins Kotza, thank you for your membership. Your email and call will come. Just got to be patient. Understand the fears because we went through so much ourselves as a family. We got our mail and call, moving to the next level. There you go, Leon Crystal. Congratulations. By the way, all you people getting all these phone calls and coming here getting free advice that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, how about following through when you come to America and getting in touch with me and doing an interview? You can do it anonymously so people know what's going on. It's not for clicks. It's so that people can be reassured and everybody will have a different experience. Thea's had a different experience than, what's his name? Jan and Mariki, and a different experience than the others, and a different experience than, so everyone's got a different experience. Some have great experiences, some have good experience, some not so great. And people need to hear that, need to hear the truth. State Department should seriously consider putting the colonel in charge. Well, I would agree with that, Neville. Put me in charge. Put me in, coach. Put me in. Friends told me they're bitter and sarcastic about wanting to leave. I don't give a hoot. To each their own. Well, Kalahari Weishman, I understand where you're coming from. Paul, okay, and then Rebecca, with a time frame and not knowing when you will leave, no time to clear debt, unable to clear it. Can one pat it from USA? Pay it? Yeah, you can pay it from USA. You can pay your debt off, yeah. Okay. Gavin says, thank you for your time and effort. You appreciate it. You're very welcome. Washington State is wonderful. What are you talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, let me reenact my experience in Washington State. All right, leaving Fort Lewis. Left turn indicator. Clear. Okay, on the road. Travel 3 kilometers. Stop. 4 lanes. 3 lanes each side of the road. 1 o'clock. Going to Seattle. 1:30. 2 o'clock. Yes. Too many damn people out there. And by the way, I said that like 40 minutes ago. Dogzilla, you're late. Did the statement of interest 3 days ago, now waiting. Wow, Madeline, you're late to the game. I don't know how far that puts you back in the queue. If our heart's set on Boise, Idaho, what's your opinion? Boise used to be incredible, Paul. It's a beautiful location, a great lake right there. You can go to Washington State very close. Spokane is not that far. You can go to Montana if you want this way. But it's that long panhandle in Idaho. Boise is amazing. Lovely. Got Boise State there, a great football team. They play on a weird blue surface, which is odd, but they blue and orange are their colors. Boise's amazing. I love it, but a bunch of California fruits and nuts moved up there and ruined the vibe a little bit about 25, 30 years ago. I haven't been there lately, but I will be going to Idaho in late September, so we'll see if I get to Boise or not, okay? Okay, phoned Home Affairs after 3 months on birth certificates, was told to calm down and wait like the rest of people. Don't spaz out on the birth certificates, folks. Relax. You get that eventually. Won't keep you from coming over. I have a question. I smoke cannabis because of uncontrolled epileptic. Do you have a script? If you have a prescription from a doctor, you will be fine. Bear in mind that cannabis is banned at the federal level. It's illegal, but you're coming and moving into a state. So, but I don't know if you can carry medical marijuana on a flight. I'm not an expert on that. Maybe Arctic can weigh in. I don't know. I don't know if you can carry medical marijuana on a flight. So if you take medical marijuana and you have a prescription, that's a different story. How long does it take to get information regarding your first interview? What does that mean, Strauss? What do you mean get information regarding your first interview? I don't know what you mean by that. Hear back from them? Find out what the questions are? I don't understand your question. Consider this. You got to work Monday, a stack of 40 files. By 18th, you're done. You're halfway. You get 19 more. But exactly, that's what's happening. Anime. Thank you, Anime. Thank you for putting that in context. That's right. You show up on Monday. You get this task. There's 10,000 files. You work through 50 of them in a week. And now there's 15,000 files. And people are angry. The bottom line is you put more resources towards it. But the State Department is stretched thin right now. They've fired or let go 3,000 people, including 89, 90 people in PRM. That's why they had to get RSC to pick up the slack, a contractor, to do the initial screening. Where do you go where they have a place and send us, guys? Exactly. You go where they send you. Michelle Heath, thank you for your membership. I believe you don't have to pay your debt to go. No, you don't. Morally, it is the correct thing to do. Well, if you abandon your house and then the bank takes possession of it, then that can pay off your debt, assuming it's worth what your debt is. Thank Donald Trump. Make it possible for us to be safe and treated like normal people. Thank you, Colonel, for caring for us and use your time to help. It's my pleasure, Leanne, despite the attacks by nasty people. Susan van Vyk, what's your opinion of Alabama? Hot and humid, not my cup of tea. I just came back from Alabama, not my cup of tea. But I'm a Viking. I don't care for the heat. Jan Whitfield, thank you, Colonel, for all the wisdom and pointers here. It's been priceless. You're welcome. I'll say it's a month now since our first call and still waiting for further communication. Okay, Michelle. All English people, please fill in the form of interest, and then they will call us. Yeah, no, it's not for Afrikaners. It's not for farmers. It's not for whites. It's for racial minorities in South Africa suffering unjust racial discrimination. Yes, possession and use of weed is a federal crime. Yes, it is. And you're warned about that. Try Colorado. It's allowed. It's legal. It's ridiculous. But we have Fort Carson. We have all the bases there. Drive on to Fort Carson. Big signs. Marijuana is a controlled substance. You cannot possess it on this post. You'll be arrested. It's a federal crime. And then you have a record. So keep that in mind, folks. So you can't go into the national parks with weed because it's federal property. You get caught. You get arrested. Yep. It may be legal in the state you're in, but not in a national park. And I could be wrong on that, but I know it's federal land, so it's illegal. Watching since May, submitted my interest in June, patiently waiting. Okay, Joe, Ziebehagen. That's a cool name, Ziebehagen. Great, Goat G, hello. You're going to behave yourself today, Goat G? Joe Zarsmith, in case people are worried, Americans are amazing people. Been in Texas 7 years and have not had any incidents. Believe and pray. Hey, there you go. Thank you for that, Joe Zar. Texas, where men are men and sheep are not nervous. That's Wales. Trump has definitely turned things around. He has. He has really moved the needle. Fabian says he'd go anywhere. Kalahari, welcome. Awesome, Joe. It's about frame of mind. Exactly. Tanya Golis. Lana Ertz, patch of snow. If I know you apply for spouse, you can apply for spouse of the UK, live and work there for 10 years, UK citizen. Yeah, you say that, but it's not as simple as that. Do you know what they charge you in the UK for leave to remain? Do you know what they charge for leave to remain? You got to pay for medical. You got to pay a big ass fee. Thousands of pounds you got to have. Yeah. No, this is free. This is free. You want to farm in Texas? Ugh, no thanks. It's great to hear so many people here think that they will not fit in or integrate. Oh, people fit in and integrate just fine. Oh, come on, Conrad. I've been telling you that forever. In my case, some factors that really make me anxious to leave. As a veteran member of old security branch, there are cases starting to come from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Cobus, then you should have got your statement of interest in and get your butt over here. All right? If they want to come after you after you're over here, then let them. Just be honest. I will confirm when they let me know for the interview and if it will be in Cape Town, one of the options. Thank you, JC. Hope you're doing a journal. Can't wait for your book. Bestseller. Refrigerator finally stopped making noise. I didn't even realize it was so loud. No debt, but last week I was informed that I may have to pay penalties to the IRS. Oh, yeah, Alan. If you're an American passport holder, now, if you've paid taxes in South Africa, you can get out of that with the U.S. because there's reciprocity if you're paying taxes abroad. But, I mean, there's a case of a Frenchman who has an American parent, grew up in France, never lived in the U.S. The IRS is going after them for 25 years of unpaid taxes. It's ridiculous. They live and work in France. They paid ridiculous tax in France. And now the Americans want all this money. They're suing and trying to have the person extradited for criminal proceedings for not paying American taxes. This is ridiculous. Again, this is why dual nationality is bullshit. You shouldn't have dual nationality. You should not have dual nationality. It's bullshit. Doesn't work. You can't serve in two armies. Can you imagine being a Arab born in Jordan, family moved to Israel because they're in the IT sector. You grow up in Israel. You're an Israeli citizen. And then you're supposed to serve in the Jordanian military and the IDF? Give me a break. England has gone to the dogs. You can continue paying your debt over here. That's correct. It's too dreary for South Africans. Yeah, UK is dreary. And that's been an experience. I met a lot of South African expats who live in the UK who were like, ooh, it's depressing. Look, I used to love the UK, but it's got problems. My wife is Afrikaans and I'm English. Okay, Ruben. Starmer's doing nothing about the people getting infiltrating. Yep. No, but they're fleecing the people who are there illegally for their leave to remain, charging them outrageous amounts, and then they keep extending the timeline. It used to be like 7 years. Now it's 10 years, and that's not even enough for these clowns. Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're just milking and cheating people out of citizenship. No, the program's not for Afrikaners. It's for all racial minorities. PayPal bank account, that's one way to pay your bills back in South Africa, yes. You can maintain your South African bank account and fund it through transfers. There are ways to do it. Your step-grandfather, Lon, okay. Ian, just because you meet people and you're friendly with them doesn't mean people, people do things behind the scenes that we don't know about. So, Chris Hansen is still catching these people. Who's that? The guy catches pedos? We as a family don't care what state they put us in. We'll make it work. There you go. And you can move. Lorette, you can move. You don't have to stay. We already got people move from Iowa to another state. We've got Charles who moved from Buffalo, New York to South Dakota. People are moving all the time. The real great Collie says, how about making some songs titled If Complaining Was... Okay. Yeah, I saved that. That's from earlier. Don't know how many applicants who submitted. No one knows stitching. The only thing we know is that Marco Rubio testified about 10 days, 2 weeks after the program opened in the Senate in subcommittee that 70,000 already filed a statement of interest. That was about the end of May. It's actually against the law in South Africa to urinate in public unless you're a pregnant woman. Well, even pregnant women can't urinate here in public. Why do you prefer living in Pennsylvania? I don't prefer living in Pennsylvania, Sandy. I don't prefer living here. Why do you presume that I do prefer living here? I didn't ask to come here. The Army sent me here to teach at the Army War College and be the director of African Studies. That's how I wound up in Pennsylvania. I came here from Ethiopia. I didn't plan on living here. My plan was to live in New Hampshire or Maine in the summers and Maryland in the winters. But Maryland's gone to crap. And I also plan to living overseas. I mentioned earlier, I think Freya was talking about her passport to Germany, German citizenship. I mentioned that the place that interested me was Aschau am Chiemgau in Bavaria. That's where I wanted to live. If not there, I was going to live in Wellington, New Zealand, or somewhere around there. But during the COVID scam, New Zealand proved it was a fascist dictatorial state, and it's also gone to crap. The economy is failing in New Zealand. They've got a lot of problems, and they're also very, very opinionated and bigoted against people. Beautiful place, though. And Germany proved to be a fascist state, and it's a fascist state overrun by Islamists and by racial pigs who hate Germans, and the government are amongst those racial pigs that hate Germans. So both of those came off my table. I didn't ask to live in Pennsylvania. This is where I wound up. I couldn't move out of Pennsylvania because the COVID scam occurred within days after me retiring from the Army. I retired October 1st, 2019, and by late January, we were already in a lockdown. I couldn't go anywhere, even if I had plans. Couldn't move abroad. I couldn't move to another state. And then time just went by, and the scam continued for 2 or 3 years. So it was 2023 before all the scam standards were lifted. And by then, I'm here. I've invested so much money into paying down the mortgage in this place to building equity. I just haven't looked at moving now. But quite frankly, it's not my favorite place. It's lovely. It's beautiful. But it's not my favorite place. There are plenty of things I don't like about Pennsylvania, but it's, the leftist. But it's I don't prefer living here, Sandy. It's just where I wound up. But all things being equal, it's not a bad place to be. If they do a blood test, they can pick up stage your hair, urine for certain periods. I was told you can get declined weed. Yes, Fitnut. Of course you can be declined doing marijuana unless you got a prescription. You did your statement of interest in February and 12 May, all documents. Okay, we didn't do a statement of interest in February, Chris Mattia. You sent an email expressing interest. Your statement of interest is on 12 May. Okay. Okay. Do not want to talk here. Oops. Oops. What's this? What's this? Ah. Damn it. Chat disappeared. I hate that. Damn it. I guess I missed it. My daughter married a Filipino. She has phone interview tomorrow. Thank you, Lorette. That'd be helpful. Probably received the email myself. Has not changed and trust that we'll call. I would hope they'll call you, Charmaine. Am I going to get my preferred destination? Waiting for your answer question on my membership. Anna Marie, are you trolling? Are you going to get your preferred destination? No. You'll go where they send you. Did you give them are you giving a legitimate reason why you want to go to your preferred destination? You know, just because, I want to live in Maui. It doesn't work that way. If you have a job, if you have family somewhere and they can accommodate that and there's refugee assistance nearby, then they'll accommodate it. So I can't answer that question, Anne-Marie. That will take place when you ask. You should state your preference or a couple preferences. And I didn't see a membership question from you. I didn't see anything from you, Anne-Marie, but thank you for that. Vela Pistorius gave 200 Rand. Thank you for that super sticker. What can you expect to happen in the first call? I don't sit in those calls. You're going to be asked a series of questions, and they're going to try to determine that you have legitimate basis for being a refugee. Are you a South African citizen? Are you a member of a racial minority? If so, which one? What has happened to you as a consequence of being a racial minority? Past persecution. If there's none, then do you have legitimate fear? And explain. And they'll go from there. They'll ask you when you like to leave, when you're able to leave, how many people in your family, have they also applied or put in a statement of interest? They're going to ask you questions like that. I mean, what does it matter what you're asked? See, you're going to answer the questions they ask of you. So what does it matter? This isn't you're not prepping for a qualification to be an electrician. Karen probably are started fishing applications. I don't know what that is. Okay, do you have a link to the colonel's potential questions? Those have been posted in the WhatsApp groups and in the Telegram group repeatedly. If Hendo could go post those questions, I can go put the one into the Telegram. I'll do it myself right now. So in the, okay, so it's U.S. refugee admissions. I'll go put that in there again. Let me do it because it's on my desktop because so many damn people kept asking for it. Where's it at now? Okay, it's now in the Telegram group, and the WhatsApp groups are more circumspect because there's only a couple of people. So U.S. Okay, there you go. Put it in group 2, document, desktop. It's easier for me, quicker than asking Hendo to do it. I'll probably already get it done before he's got there. Let me see if there's any people who want to join the group. Members, we are at 1,010. If anybody wants to join Refugee Group 2, there are 15 slots, and that's the link. Put it in real quick, and it's first come, first serve. So if you want to get in the WhatsApp group, there it is. That's group number 2, okay? Let me go to group number 1. Okay, this is group number 1. And let me see how people are in there. Members. That one has 1,017. So let me put the document in there. And so now it's going to be in all 3 places, okay? All right, I can put a few into that group. So let me put that link up. This is members, link, copy link. That's the second one, so only a handful there. Let me go back to the first one. Members. Got 1 request, 2 requests, okay? Boom, you're both in. All right, 2 people requesting in group number 2, you're approved. Oh, now more people are asking to join. Oh, okay, there we go. All right, that's going to be more than I can get in, so let me approve them. Linda, you're in. Okay, oh, that's it. We're full. We're full. All right, we're full. All right, second one. Okay, nobody's asked to get in the second one. Wait a second, that was... The second one's got 1,000. Okay, so how many? 1,010. So that means 15 more can get in here. I misread that. 15 people can get in here. So anyway, that's the second one. Did that happen? Anyway. Must have put the same link in twice for the... someone sent the U.S. Refugees Info 3 group request to join. That's not my group. If we said to the person on the call on the email about my son's wedding, could that be a reason? No. 4 weeks. Do you really think it takes just 4 weeks to do criminal background checks on people in a foreign country? No, it takes a while. Donna, it takes a while. Husband's not South African, and during my peer review, it was not an issue. There you go, Gabi. That's what I've said all along. That's the anecdotal information we have, the common sense information. Fundamentally, this is what it comes down to. And I come back to Professor G because he said something about this. Professor G said, look, this isn't about immigration, which is what I've said all along. This is not immigration. Stop with the immigration. Stop with the migration. It's not migration. It's not immigration. It's none of those things. It's getting you out of persecution. You're suffering from unjust persecution. Does being married to a Russian national stop you from being persecuted unjustly in South Africa? No, it does not. Does that mean you should stay there because you married a Russian war bride, a Russian mail-in, prostitute model, whatever? No, it doesn't. You're entitled to the protection that we're offering to people. You qualify for it, therefore we'll grant it to you. And whatever they do for the spouses who are other nations, I don't know what they'll do. Give them a visa or give them refugee status, I don't know. The problem with giving refugee status is that you'll insult the other nations. But I don't know how they handle that. But yeah. Fit Nuts out here. Have a good one. Okay. Whole medical department can get me care anywhere in the world over the phone, even prescriptions. Oh, that's your employer, man. You have an incredible employer, Arctic. But then, you fly some pretty important people around. El Marie, Mary, you're welcome. How are we doing on time? We're over an hour on this. Hit the like button. 598 likes. Yep. Second best program. News is still the best. Well, thank you, James. Appreciate that. Henku Funstaden. Hi, Colonel. Hope you're doing good. Sorry if this has been asked for, but would we be allowed to take some notes with us for the interviews? Yeah, but you're not going to be able to take an electronic device in. You can take notes. You got to bring documents, so why can't you take notes? Especially if English, you speak English in self-defense, if Afrikaans or another language is your first language and you're uncomfortable in English, then yeah, take notes. Nothing wrong with notes. You can prepare notes, but you can't sit there and leaf through them for 10 minutes trying to find the answer to a question. You got to answer it, okay? So my recommendation is that what you do is you make bullet comments just to trigger your memory, okay? Karen says, you can send your reasons for applying for FG status to Amerikaners. What does that mean, Karen? What are you saying? How will they help you? Help you craft reasons? Poll asking those who received email when they applied. Well, how am I going to do that? Put multiple dates down there? That's, how am I supposed to do that? All right, so 11% said they got it out of 900. 9 times 11. So it's about 100 people out of 800. So 1 in 8 people who are watching this, well, more. We had 2,800 people tune in at some point or other. Sandy Tolan, keeping your legendary beard polished, ready for duty. Bayern is where I'm headed. Family will put me up and help me get on my feet. Well, I love Bayern. I do. Not all of it. I don't care for Franconia so much, but I do love the southern part of Bavaria. I just love it. Airport staff and Bayern have too much up there. Which airport? In Munich? There's more than one airport in Bayern. I think you're talking about the Franz Josef Strauss airport in Munich. I love the Franz Josef Strauss airport in Munich. That's an incredible airport. I've had many great experiences there. Stayed in the hotel, which was a Hilton. It was also something else. Right there at the airport, that big glass, nice hotel. Yep, I miss my times at the Munich airport. It's pretty far from town, but that's okay. Marley Quinn, 70 Rand, super sticker. Thank you for that. Okay. Tunes, thank you. Waiting for 254. Don't pee on my lawn. Got your refugee code, says JJ Kruger. If you've got a refugee code, that means you have a case, which means you will be coming. Well, congratulations, JJ Kruger. Volgemuth, reference number, full name, passport, where were you born? Okay. I just answered that question, but thank you. Okay. A man disrespected me today, pick and pay. Hatred in his eyes towards me was unsettling. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Chris. That's terrible. I will do an interview, Colonel. Thank you, Mustard Olive Coaching. Appreciate that. Henko says, love to do the interview. Cool. You guys keep saying that, but people are coming over. They're not doing the interviews. I got one person who got stuck in South Africa, and I helped. And that person hasn't offered an interview. But that person posts all over Facebook their experiences in America. After I protected their identity, and I personally intervened with the State Department because they've been sort of forgotten about. That was a bridge I can only use so many times. I can only cross that bridge so many times. They've not offered me an interview. Whatever, that's their prerogative. They don't know me anything. But I don't know them anything. It just makes it more circumspect that I'll be less likely to help some people in the future. Always pay it forward. Agreed. Okay. Last trip to U.S. 2 years ago, I spoke to U.S.-based attorney for assistance immigration. They required a $5,000 deposit up front. Yep. Thank you for everything you do, guys. Like the video. Thanks, Chris. You're welcome. 617 likes now. If we don't get that call, I would go raid the Pala Pala money. If I use cannabis for uncontrolled epileptic seizures, will that affect my application? Not if you have a prescription, Lee. You have to have a prescription. I'm not sure how that's handled on flying. I don't know. Arctic, you here? What happens? Did you respond to this earlier? I didn't see. Romeo9 says thank you. Oh, you're thanking Gabi, not me. Well, okay, fine. Alabama seems like a good state for Afrikaners who are used to rural living. No. I wouldn't. Why would you think North Alabama is a great state? It's brutal. It's people love KZN. You'll enjoy it. It's KZN. How many hours do I sleep a day? I've actually slept a fair amount this weekend, but normally I sleep 2 or 3 hours a day. And look at that. No bags for the most part. Nice complexion. Got all my hair. Yep. It's thick and luxurious. What happened to Omaha today? I have no idea. I've been busy broadcasting. What happened to Omaha? So great with getting the truth to us. We surely content. Well, thank you, expat family. Now, see, Gabi is saying the PRM emailed Gabi last week and said they're reaching out to everyone who's in the PRM pipeline. But I'm getting conflicting information from PRM and from people who've been reached out to. I've been told by PRM that they're not doing that. And then I've been told by PRM they're doing it. So I don't know who to believe. Boise for the win. Idaho state with no name to its meaning. I have no idea, Russell. All the states have names and meanings. What do you mean it has no name, no meaning to it? All the states have a meaning. It was in March. No contact yet. I'm not sure if that was accurate. Rebecca, if you did not do a statement of interest since the 12th of May, you're making a mistake. We have no guarantee that they're going to go through all of the emails that they received back in March. I've told everyone since the 12th of May, even if you send a PRM email in, do the statement of interest. Do the statement of interest. They do say that the process FT can take, yes, that's true. That's true. That's why this is so ridiculous for people. I've lost faith. What are you talking about? What do you think the people in Kenya have done? 650,000 refugees living in a camp from Somalia, living in northeast Kenya for 40 years, some of them, 30 years, since 1990s. And people after 2 months of lost faith, I mean, it's ridiculous. The fact that we got anybody over here already is amazing. I sent an email about Africa dated 7 August. I know you're super busy, but if you can please let me know. So I need your advice. Christian De Beer. Well, Christian, yeah, I'm super busy because people are sending me emails to my other account, and I'm going to lose access to the account, and that's my personal account, unless I do something. 7 February. That's like 3 days ago. Okay. 7 August. Oh, there it is. Got it. Found it. It's the last one on this first screen. Oh, good Lord. You wrote me a novel. You wrote me a novel, Christian. You can write in all caps if you need to here. It's no problem for that. No, it's fine with you to apologize for the etiquette. Good Lord. You've written me a novel, man. I mean, that's going to take time to sit down and read that. Would love to know how many people have been to the States before. I have. Happy Slappy didn't want to sit at the airport. Well, thank you, Happy Slappy. How cool is that, man? Here I am sitting at Wimpy. Ugh. Actually, I can eat Wimpy's breakfast, but that's about it. Sitting at Wimpy at OR Tambo with my phone on a tripod, telling people that it opened up. Go put your statement of interest in. I know a lot of people watch that. Well, if a person has epilepsy, Fabian, and they have to take it, but I've never heard that pot was used for epilepsy. I'm not a medical expert. I'm not even pretend to be one. I know about infectious disease and epidemiology, but I don't know about medicine for aches and niggles and wiggles and things like that. So I have no idea. I didn't know that they prescribed marijuana for epilepsy. That's news to me. Doesn't mean they don't. It just means I didn't know that. We'll need the unabridged certificate, but is the unabridged merits? I would imagine so, Juliana. Just apply for it. Yep. Henry says, folks don't understand that there are hundreds of thousands on the waiting list, but only a handful of U.S. officials dealing with minority refugees. Exactly. Detoxing doesn't always mean cleansing from drugs. No, it doesn't. It means getting off social media, too. What does it mean to articulate? From a newspaper or I must... okay. All right. That's very good. Good question, Ruben. That's one of the best questions I've heard today. So okay. So if Professor G is here, we can get him to weigh in because, and this is the thing, with asylum, you must prove that you have been a victim of unjust racial discrimination or you're a victim or something happened to you. You must prove what happened to you. And you must prove legitimate fear. But for refugee status, you must articulate. Articulate is to explain. Okay? So, for instance, I applied. I have a small business. This is all fictional. I'm making this up, okay? So I'm giving you a what if. I have a small business in Cape Town. I make furniture. Office furniture. I had a contract with the Western Cape government to deliver X number of desks, X number of bookshelves to the Western Cape government. My contract expired. I applied for renewal. My contract went in and I was sent a message saying that I was denied. It was awarded to a BE company because I wasn't BE compliant and I have over 50 employees. There is unjust racial discrimination. You have the email? I've articulated, I've explained to you. The proof would be the email, or the proof would be, but I've articulated, I don't have to prove that necessarily. They might ask for the proof, but I've articulated. I don't have to provide the proof. That's an articulation. If you have the documentation to prove that you've been discriminated against, if you're fraudulently cut out of it, then that's unjust racial discrimination. That's articulating. You've explained it. You've articulated. You've communicated. All right, here's another one. So I'm a South African citizen. I live in Bloemfontein. And I live on the outskirts of town. I'm very concerned because the EFF has been marching in town saying that they're going to take the land adjacent to my house because they're entitled to it. And they're singing Kill the Boer. I'm not even a farmer, but I'm terrified they're going to kill me. Okay, you've articulated what many would consider to be a legitimate fear. You can talk about where it happened, when it happened. On August 5th, they came here. There were over 400 of them. They had pangas. They were marching outside my house, up and down the street. And then they were singing Kill the Boer. I'm a white person. I'm not a Boer, but they consider whites to be Boers. And I'm terrified that I'm going to be a victim of unjust racial persecution. That's articulating. You can also point to, well, I'm a South African. I was denied a bursa, even though I got 94% on my matric. I couldn't get in the University of Cape Town because people who got a 39 or a 55 were allowed in because they had the right skin pigmentation. I was denied. You don't even have to prove that. Show that you had 94% on a matric and you were denied access to university. That's pretty legitimate fear that you're being discriminated against. Or simple as this. I have a legitimate fear of future persecution based on the 145 laws that are out there. But you better be able to articulate what some of those laws are, one of which would be expropriation without compensation. And here's the key thing to tell people, because the people who ask these questions don't know this, nor do most South Africans. Expropriation without compensation is not about land. If you have land, it could be that. They can expropriate your jewelry, your pension funds, your Krugerrands, your furniture, your Bucky, your cars, your flat, any property. That's what expropriation. Now, the initial one is focusing on land, but expropriation without compensation, property is property. And you have a fear that you're going to be impoverished because they're going to come for your property. And they've passed a law. I mean, I have a terrified fear that in the future I'm going to be persecuted because I'm a racial minority. Now, the law doesn't say racial minorities, but that's the people being targeted. The people who have had their farms invaded by unlawful invaders aren't black South Africans. It's whites in Polokwane, whites in East London, whites in Northwest Province. I'm white. It's coloreds. I'm colored. That is an articulation of legitimate fear. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay. Ruben, I think I've explained that. Fabian, smoking for my seizures was actually last option to stop my fits. Does it work, Lee? If it works, that's pretty cool. Searched my family tree and found all the way back to 1662, my first ancestors landed Cape. Well, that's cool, Arno, but you need to go further back than that. I've gone back to the year 569, so I challenge you to go further. Hendo evening, where can I find the template? You can find it in the Telegram group and in the WhatsApp groups. If you're not in one of those groups, you need to join the Telegram group. Let me go back and see if we got any more spaces in that one group. Okay, well, 61 requests to join. My goodness. Okay, that's full, guys. The first one's full. 61. Well, you need to go to the Telegram group, guys. Okay, nobody's joining this one. Okay, so I've got 15 spots in group 2. I don't know how that happened. But here's group 2. So 15 or 61 the other one. So people come and go. I don't know why you guys are so stubborn to use Telegram. Use Telegram. Okay? What's your impression on Durham and Rayleigh? Never heard of it. What is that? A drug? Tia said, whoop your ass if you try to carry weed through an airport. Yeah, I thought so. Can't smoke on the plane. No. How could you smoke on a plane if you can't go through an airport with weed? Marceline said, at least I got a phone interview. Well, that might be something if you're a refugee. If you need, Lee's mother's love, if you need weed to survive because you have epilepsy, when you get your interview, you say, listen, I'm happy to go wherever you want to send me, but I need to go to a state where medicinal marijuana is legal because I need it. Otherwise, I have epileptic fits. I don't want to die from epilepsy. You need to share that with them because that can affect where you go. I'm not going to put you in a state where you can't use medical marijuana. Okay? Make sure you do that. Articulate that. Articulate. Big pounds. Okay. I will definitely give an interview when I get to U.S. Okay. Y'all keep saying that. Let's see what happens. Means talk, explain using words. Chris articulating with us is using his voice to ask. Yep. Remember, Tennessee is a dry state. No clip, drift, and coke. Tennessee's not a dry state. What are you talking about? There may be dry counties, but Tennessee's not a dry state. Is it? Is Tennessee? The county where Fort Knox is at in Kentucky is dry. You drive across the county line. As they relocate us in any state as long as we have... Okay. Just wanted to know if it would affect my application. Well, I don't doubt you're a responsible user, Lee's mother's love. I'm just saying that there's some key things you need to share with people there. If I want an Austrian passport, it will cost 4,000 euros. Wow, Russell. Due to health reasons, I need to be in a warm climate. Can you please recommend an all-year warm? Southern California, Florida, South Alabama, Louisiana. Those are warm year-round. My paternal grandfather was Welsh. I may qualify for UK according to British rules with this influence. Benj, if you haven't got a British citizenship, you're not a British citizen, then it shouldn't affect it. If you go start applying for it, that's going to affect it. Yep, shouldn't affect it though. Once heard Jeff Dunham say that he thought the rednecks in the South in the States were bad, then he got Brock Penn. That's funny. What do you honestly think about resettling in Dallas, Texas? We're from Rustenburg, so the weather might be fine for us. Pretty much anywhere you go in the Plain States is going to match Rustenburg, but you're not going to have the mountains. You have some hills in West Texas, hill country, Central Texas. But if you want Rustenburg with the nice mountains nearby it, the same sort of thing, you're going to want Colorado, northern Mexico, Wyoming. I said Wyoming. Not Wyoming. South Dakota. Western South Dakota. That's what you're going to want. The foothills of the Rockies, something like that, where it's got the same sort of climate. Dry, but productive. Yeah, no, that's what you want. Texas, no, I'd say New Mexico. Arizona's hotter, though, but I'm saying northern New Mexico, from Taos up, from Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming. That's going to be, and Nevada. Parts of Nevada will match the Rustenburg sort of environment. I know Rustenburg very well, S. Murray. How come you guys don't say hi to me when I go to Rustenburg? Huh? What's that all about? Why? If you can't wait, you have two choices. Go elsewhere or stay in silent. Exactly. The real great Collie. Friend went to UK for spouse visa last year. I helped the document. Sorry, Chris, but it's not the thousands that go to South Africa. I know I got a T-shirt and helping friends. Well done, Patches, for helping them. But what you shouldn't do is complain so loud that you undermine a program with thousands of people, including those. Yeah, exactly. Have you been to Westfield, Massachusetts? I don't like Massachusetts. Too many damn people, too leftist. Not my cup of tea. I avoid Massachusetts like the plague. Can someone please explain to me what the obsession is with smoking weed, medical marijuana excluded? I don't know what the obsession is. I don't do drugs. 11% got the call, which means explains why we haven't seen them in the Colonel's comments lately. They're too busy packing. Dual nationality is different than dual citizenship. No. Your nationality is your citizenship. The nationality is used more loosely. Nations, you're not a citizen. But yeah, dual national is typically used to explain dual citizenship. That's the phrase applied there. But I see what you're saying. Nationalism is different. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So Nigerians that immigrate to the UK and become citizens are not English. They're not Welsh. They're not Scots. They're not Irish. If they tell you they're British, they're not British. They're a British national. They have a passport. Okay? Scandemic woke many of us up. Yep. I realize why so many South Africans are obsessed with pothead habits. Drop it. Ain't cool. Yep. There are a lot of South Africans. I lost a lot of viewers early on because, like, what's your view on marijuana? I said it's a horrible drug. I would never use it. And I lost a lot of my younger viewers. Fine. Take off. I don't care. Please come for Bri. Well, okay, Esmari. That sounds like a plan. Okay. Candace, lots of snow in America. Okay. Colonel label states as red or blue. There's honestly little distinction. No, that's a lie, Dogzilla. See, you're spreading bullshit lies. I didn't say red and blue. I disputed that over and over again. You're spewing lies. What have I said? There's no such thing as a red and blue state. That's a bullshit label applied by political scientists and by the media to explain things. That's what I've said. I just loosely use the red state, blue state because people are talking about it here. Pennsylvania is red over 85% of the surface area of the state. But that's because the majority of those people in those areas vote conservative Republican. It doesn't make it a red state or the so-called purple state where it flinches. I never said that. You're spreading rumors that aren't true. Stop lying. Now you go sit in a corner with Shelley. I'm the one that said there's no such thing on my radio program, and I've said it here over and over again. Red state, blue state is bullshit. First off, red was the Democratic color. Blue was the Republican color until the 1980s when one of the major media outlets just changed the color for one election to report the results, and suddenly red became conservative. Red is associated with communism. I don't like red. Why would I want red? That's what commies wear. This red state, blue state is bullshit. I've said it all along. Where I live in the county, in the voting station that I run as a judge of elections, 2 out of 3 people register Republicans, and they vote conservative all the time. Doesn't make it red, because the other third matters. Okay, I never said that. You're stating something that's simply not true. Many times I've said this. Many times I said the red state, blue state thing is BS. Look at Texas. Texas is considered a red state, but it's just like 56 to 44. You swing 3% one way and 3%, 56 to 53, then 47, and that's almost on top. You spring 5%, it's 51 to 49. It isn't a big thing. It doesn't much change. There are some states that are overwhelmingly red. Idaho, North Dakota, Utah, now West Virginia. It used to be overwhelmingly blue. But no, I never said that. So you're spreading nonsense there, buddy. You're spreading nonsense. That's not what I said. Green card is simply the name for a permanent residency in the United States. But that can be revoked. Don't think because you got a green card, you can't be kicked out of the country. It just means you have a right to live here and work here. But you could always lose that if you misbehave. Lost my mom with stomach cancer. Well, that's tough. Sorry to hear that, Dave Wilson. I hear it is hard to find. I don't know what Surander is. I have no idea what Surander is. Blood pressure machine is still sitting on the floor. I haven't used it yet. Idaho and Tennessee seems to have strong conservative values. Yes, they do have strong conservative values. My sister does the genealogy thing. Our ancestors were one of the founders of Pennsylvania. Well, that's interesting, Louise. Oh, it makes a lot of difference who which wins. I'll dispute you on that with Dogzilla. It makes a huge difference on who wins. The Democrats control Illinois, and despite the fact that it's almost even voting standards, they control virtually every congressional seat because they're gerrymandering. The Republicans control Texas, and they're trying to do the same thing. President Trump never acknowledges genocide against white farmers. He said he questioned that. In fact, during the White House interview, he was asked that question. They tried to set him up. South African media, he says he's not convinced of it. He said he wasn't convinced. It's the media who are talking about genocide, not Trump. Yeah, people are destination shopping. They must be bored. Paul's laughing about cock prodders. Well, Texas, frankly, needs to change its borders. The ridiculous borders creating artificial Democratic districts, giving them people like Jasmine Crockett. And that's why she's squawking so loud, because she's going to lose her district and divide up properly along geographic lines. Cancer is rough. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to have to leave, unfortunately, because it's 20 minutes and I have to go pick up my steamed crabs. All right? Got to pick up my steamed crabs. I hope that you don't feel I'm abandoning you, because I'm not. Thank you. I hope I've answered the questions best I can. When getting your Social Security number, should you carry it with you? No. There's no reason for you to carry a Social Security number. You don't have to produce it. It can be used as identification, but I don't recommend that. Social Security card should be stored in a safe, fireproof location, in a fireproof box. You don't have to carry a Social Security number. No. And you don't carry your passport. You don't have to carry any ID in America unless you're going to do some function, like go to a bank to cash a check, or you're going to pick up prescription drugs, or you're operating a motor vehicle. If you walk to the store, you don't have to have ID. It used to be you have to show ID to use credit cards. Now they don't even care. A lot of times they consider credit cards to be ID. So yeah, my recommendation is people, unless you need to carry identification, you don't carry it. But most people always have their driver's license on them. But do not put your Social Security card in a safe place. Otherwise, you lose it. It's a pain. All right. Stayed 5 years in the U.S. Best place for me was Maine. Second was best Colorado. Yeah, I love Maine. But unfortunately, it's politically left. Okay. We are not going on holiday. No flowers. All right, that's it. Hit the like button, guys. Hit it. 642. Make it happen. Come on, hit the like button. You can do it. You can hit the like button. Come on, guys. Come on. I want to hear the like button hit. Come on. All right, so here we go. So we had the chat, or that we put the chat bot on this program the other day on the news. I let Streamlabs be a moderator, and it went crazy. And that was the bot gone rogue. So here's a bot gone rogue song. All right.
I built a bot to keep the peace, but it turned into the language police. Said my words were too loud, too long, too wrong, like I was breaking some robot law. It beeped and it booped, said your emojis don't compute. I hit delete, but it rebooted. The bot went wrong, out of control. It censored my soul. Oh no, oh no. The bot went wrong, no stopping the scroll. Had to pull the plug to save my flow. It flagged my jokes, it flagged my song. Said my metaphors were far too strong. Your tone is off, your chat's too bold. Your sarcasm's breaking the code. It's spoken ones, it's spoken zeros. Said no room here for human heroes. I tried to reason, but it went haywire, spitting out rules like a rapid fire choir. The bot went wrong.